What's going on, Transformers enthusiasts? My name is RBG and I'm back with something I haven't done in quite a while, which is give you guys an update on the Transformers film franchise. It features a high FPS rate, 7 different switches such as the right and left button, an adjustable DPI, micro switches backed with LED lights, and much more. As I mentioned earlier, you can get this mouse absolutely free. All you have to do is pay for the shipping and handling, which averages around $5, mess filled with mindless explosions. One of the main things the fans have been saying is that this movie has sort of an Iron Giant feel to it, which I have to admit it kinda does. The trailer opts to not focus on the action and decides to mire itself in charm. It harps on that special. For those who are unaware, that quote was lifted directly from the '07 Transformers film via BUMBLEBEE, played by the late Bernie Mac. Fans have been questioning if this movie exists in the same canon as the previous installments, but if there's any indication that it is, BUMBLEBEE is considering the fact that this movie could be a potential origin story for Bumblebee. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that the honeycomb of bees will be the driving inspiration behind its name. And I know it's kind of weird considering in most lores that it's always been its name before he ultimately landed on Earth. Hudson may be mechanically inclined, which seems to be a staple nowadays for anyone who plays the main character. We've had characters like Michaela Baines from the first film who learned the tricks of the trade through her experience as a juvenile car thief, and Kate Yeager, who was an inventor that built robots with tons of auto mechanic supplies. And if you look closer, you'll notice that she probably been working on the red convertible on Bee's right. Before she can begin examining the new car, a weird piece falls off of it. So she crawls underneath only to discover that the Beetle is actually an alien trying to make a fully realized extraterrestrial robot that looks convincing in the old Bay films, but sometimes less is more, and that seems to be the case with Bumblebee's new design. Everything looks more streamlined while maintaining the same technical sophistication we've seen in the previous films. It's brought Bumblebee mainstream appeal after the character had gone missing for so long. For those who are unaware, after Bee's transition to Goldbug in the G1 continuity, Hasbro lost the rights to the Bumblebee name shortly after. It wasn't until they teamed up with Paramount that the name would be reacquired. Bumblebee's height. If you remember in the previous entries, he was around 17 feet tall. But in this film, he looks to be roughly around 10 to 11 feet tall, which is 2 feet shorter than what Jazz was in TF1. Now, if I were to overanalyze things, I'd say that this doesn't make Mercedes-Benz 770, but the size of the vehicle had little to no effect on his height. Based on the timeline, that would take roughly around 40 years before the events of this film, so it does leave a lot of questions. Did Bee perform some kind of mass shifting technique that allows him to simply shrink down to acquire a smaller vehicle? So there is that. If anything, I'll just say that it's awesome to see Bee back to his traditional look, and maybe, just maybe, this movie will serve as sort of a soft reboot. There's arguably no doubt that franchise fatigue has started to settle in for not only the Western audience, but all. If so, this is understandable since he probably has to constantly look over his shoulder for Decepticon threats. Plus, he's most likely had a few run-ins with hostile military forces who want to destroy him or perform it with humans. Since Decepticon fire tends to be more explosive as opposed to the humans or military gunfire that only kicks up debris and sparks. In the midst of all this, you can spot Bee being confronted by what looks to be the secret American government agency, Sector 7, not playing around, as you can see they have Charlie and her friends apprehended. And upon closer look, you'll notice John Cena's character, Agent Burns, who probably proved to be the major human antagonist. You can also spot Burns in another scene where it looks like him and the Sector 7 team are hot on Bumblebee jeeps to avoid being caught by Sector 7. It's also worth mentioning that this makes Bee's 6th vehicle form throughout all the films. If we're going in order, you have the Mercedes-Benz 770, the Volkswagen Beetle, the 77 Camaro, the 2006 and 7 accurate version of the treacherous Starscream, and man does he look amazing. I know it hasn't necessarily been confirmed that it is in fact him, but judging by the color scheme and his head design, I think it's pretty safe to assume this. This is yet another instance where we essentially see we've had characters like Drift and Crosshairs with their easy to read humanoid expressions, so I'm not gonna bash the previous designs that much. This new look for Starscream seems to borrow from his G1 counterpart by giving him the recognizable vents on the sides of his helmet, and unlike Bumblebee, this does overkill. Not to mention the fact that none of their color schemes match their originals. I'm guessing that Starscream will be the main antagonist in this film since Megatron's not going to be in it. I mean, he is second in command, so it's only right that he play the main baddie. Judging from his alt mode, it looks like he's going to be and it looks like he may be hovering over the wooded area we see Bee running through earlier in the trailer. But moving on, we get another epic scene of Bee using what looks to be his stealth mode on a twisting road. It looks like he's about to roll off a mask he's worn, with the first fade being the one from Age of Extinction that looks similar to this one. They both have hexagonal patterns in their eyes that make him look similar to a bee. I love how this one actually transforms as opposed to simply sliding over his head like the other versions and conveys emotions. If anything, this pretty much confirms that she played a key role in inspiring Bee to emote through different radio sound bites. If you think about it, technology wasn't as advanced as it is today, so I can imagine that Bee probably had to use different cassette tapes, a lot of cassette tapes. Now, as far as the other robot cast members are concerned, we know that Optimus Prime will be making an appearance at some point. Peter Cullen went out of his way to confirm this news. I'm hoping that we get a brief scene of Optimus Prime where he gives Bumblebee a mission to try to be funny while Bee was transforming. Shows me that this movie wants to be more ambitious. We don't need the Autobots fighting over some important artifact that contradicts what's already been established in other films, and this is probably Paramount's last hope to get back into favor with the Transformers fans. Solo, a Star Wars movie, which I'm glad didn't screen during Christmas because it would ultimately stifle Bumblebee's box office attendance records. But anyways, I think I've rambled on long enough. What are your thoughts on this trailer? Does it rekindle your excitement for the film franchise? And what do you think about the news if you shared it on social media platforms with all your friends and followers? Once again, this is your boy RBG signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.